Well, here we are at the Max, and it's nice to talk to David and David. It's a father and son team, David Cowan, and the reason you guys are here today is to talk about a song you've put together for Clutha. First of all, remind people about the Clutha disaster, because it's 7, 8 years ago now. Can you remember the time that the helicopter crashed into the Clutha?
I just remember catching it on the news at night time. It was just breathtaking. It was a horrible thing to witness.
Yeah. Are you old enough to remember?
Yeah, I was actually at the Pavilion Theatre the night that happened with my wife. We went to a show in the theatre, and we were coming back in the bus, and everybody started talking about it on the bus on the way home.
Yeah.
And we're like, we've just came from the town, like that's crazy. We actually passed the Clutha on the way back as well. So it must have happened literally 5-10 minutes after we'd left the town.
Well, I was sitting in the East Coast in Fife. I was looking after my mother at the time because she wasn't too well. Sadly got better a few weeks later, but I just remember sitting in front of the TV on a Friday evening, and I think we had the BBC News channel, and then there it was, and it was a bit surreal because, you know, even 50 miles away from Glasgow, you feel as if it's just down the road. So suddenly you had this terrible helicopter crash. Everybody rallied round in Glasgow, as we know. There was a lot of talking about it, and there was a lot of kind of
coverage.
Absolutely.
But some years on now, the memories are maybe still fresh in your mind. And who had the idea for the song?
Myself.
So what kind of twigged in your mind to put the song together, David?
Possibly people's feelings on the event. No, that's when a lot of the words in the song came through. It just kind of capped everything that happened.
Well, had you been a songwriter before? Had you written songs
for years? Yeah.
Right. So was it just something that you did?
Yeah.
You had a day job, but you just
I just kind of on that occasion.
Yeah. So kind of like a secret songwriter in many ways. Yeah. So you decided to put the Clutha song together, and tell us about some of the lyrics that formed in your mind.
Well, the first bit's like the darkness and the music in the air for the live entertainment from the Clutha. I think there was a band on that evening.
Yes, there was, yeah.
People just standing in silence after the event had happened.
People in shock.
And you put it together with your son, and when Tom Russell played me the song a couple of days ago, the first kind of rock influence that came into my mind was it was a bit REO Speedwagon, it was a bit Bruce Hornsby in the Range, and that's kind of what you were aiming for, because there's a nice middle eight thing,
particularly in the solo section. That for some reason I just felt that particular sound fitted the song, so I just kind of threw that wee influence in there, because I like a lot of Bruce Hornsby's music anyway.
There's a touch of that sympathetic mandolin rain.
Absolutely. Loads of influences that are in there.
So this, I mean, are you aware of any other songs that exist for Clutha?
Not to my knowledge, no.
I know there was charity events.
There was a charity event. There was a charity album as well, I believe. I'm sure it was for the Clutha. There was an album. Rock the Clutha.
Yeah, the Clutha was one. Yeah.
So you've put the song together. I mean, are you going to maybe give it to a charity? Are you going to raise money for Clutha, or is it just something where you want to keep people's memory alive about the event?
Maybe a combination of the lot there.
It's going to be on an album that I'm working with my dad on as well.
Right.
With a lot of material that he's written. Some of the songs he wrote years ago, and there's some material that he's been writing just now. So I'm kind of engineering that for him just now as well. And we've got some really good players on some of the tracks.
So was Dad playing in a band when you were a kid, and then you said, I kind of want to follow in his footsteps?
Pretty much, aye. It's kind of always been in me. I've been playing since I was 4, but when my dad was younger, he played in kind of rock bands and things like that. But music's always been in my family.
So is that Glasgow area David Senior? Is Clydebank, Glasgow? Is that where you did?
Yeah.
So the two of you are originally from Clydebank.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking maybe this is the next big thing after. Everybody talks about Wet, don't they?
He's actually got his own projects on the go. He's far too busy to be. But he's helped on all my stuff, obviously,
Right. So tell us about some of your solo projects, David.
I'm working on a second solo album just now. The first one is called Out of the Dark, and it's quite soundtrack based. It's based on a lot of influences with John Carpenter and things like that.
All right.
I'm working on the second one just now, Out of the Dark Part 2, and it's more kind of heavy rock. For a few years I was working with Al Clemenson and the Sin Dogs.
Wow.
And it's got that sort of heavy industrial sound, keyboards and heavy guitar. And I've got some great players on it. I've got Peter Scallon singing, he's currently singing with Glasgow, and a guy called Andy McLaughlin on guitar.
So for those who don't know, John Carpenter, one of his big movies was The Thing.
Yep.
In the early 80s.
Assault on Precinct 13, Halloween, The Fog, list goes on.
Halloween, I think, is
That's
famous.
right.
That's my favourite.
So yeah, I mean, thinking back, I mean, a lot of that stuff was keyboard. It was almost like kind of prog rock.
Synthesizers and things like that, yeah. And he's actually, funnily enough, he's actually just recorded an album of original material that's based on his own soundtracks, Lost Themes, and he actually toured it. I went to see him in the Barrowlands a few years ago, and he'd done his whole show with all his soundtracks and some of his new material, and it was amazing. There was only 4 of them or something in the band. And
non-film buffs might be interested to know that he's not just a
he's not just a director. He's a composer. He's a producer. He's just a jack of all trades, really.
Fantastic.
And he's been a major influence in my career.
So at the moment, the song is the soundtrack to the Clutha disaster. I mean, thinking back, I mean, we had the TV pictures coming in. I'm just kind of thinking about my own experience. The pictures coming in. I mean, at the time, was there any kind of song forming in your head at that time, or did you feel like you had to
I think
have
it was later
No,
on.
Yeah.
It was later.
That time had lapsed,
Mm.
and I went one day. I said, I really think I could do a song about this.
Yeah.
I can still visualise that kind of cran thing lifting the helicopter off the roof kind of thing. It was.
Yeah.
And you don't realise when you're seeing things on the telly like that, you think you don't realise that it's actually 5-10 minutes up the road, because you're used to seeing a lot of things on the media that's not Scotland or whatever, but when it does happen close to home, you're kind of like, oof.
Yeah.
It's more frightening, I think.
Yeah, and then there was the bin lorry incident as well.
That's
that
right.
happened. That was.
Yeah, I mean, we had the, they say it comes in threes, but we had kind of like
The
2 or
Glasgow
3.
Airport terror attack as well.
That's right. So once the song's finished, because you're still kind of laying down tracks for it and stuff, I mean, is there any hope of a video or anything like that?
Yeah, quite possibly. Yeah. I've got a few friends that do videoing and things like that. So yeah, we could definitely put something together. I put something together that's actually on YouTube just now, and it's just basically a collage of photographs from the event that's on YouTube at the moment. But I think once the song's finished, we'll get a proper video done, and we'll get it done properly.
Well, we'll certainly get that up on the MyPlayer site, myplayer.uk. I mean, it is fantastic now that if you're a bedroom musician or even a bedroom DJ, a bedroom radio presenter, there is so much stuff that you can do now that recreates a studio sound. I mean, the technology now is incredible.
That's where the song was created, actually, was in the bedroom, because just sat there with my 12-string guitar, and that's where it happened.
Yeah, fantastic. And I mean, digitally, it doesn't really take that much money now to put together a decent studio set.
No, as long as you've got a decent computer, the right software, and your instrument, of course, then you're kind of there. You know what I mean? And I've been recording for a few years now that a lot of the stuff early on I listen back to, and it's like the production side of it's quite poor, but then you've got to start somewhere. But I've noticed as I've kind of been doing it more and more, they're getting better.
Definitely.
And it's just free being in the house and just listening to other people. When I've been in studios and listening to other producers and engineers, I sit and watch them, see what they're doing, and ask them, how did you manage to do that, or how did you get the fade and things like that. So I'm starting to pick up all these wee tips, as well as being a player. I've always had an interest in the production side of things as well.
And I guess, one of the good things to come out of COVID has been a lot of people have had time on their hands. They've had more time to be creative, and I guess this is what's happened here.
Oh, definitely,
And I mean, have you got any plans for any other songs? Is there any other Glasgow history that makes you feel, I'd maybe like to write a song about that?
There's loads of Scottish history that you could write. But
a wee song about the epidemic as well, but that's far from finished yet. I've kind of done a wee bit about that.
Actually, now that you're mentioning it, there is a band from Clydebank called the Renains.
I know the Renains well, yeah.
They did a song called Quarantine, and the bizarre thing was that it was recorded 18 months before the original lockdown.
That's right.
So maybe something in that vein is your next project.
Yeah.
Well, guys, I'll thank you very much for coming in today.
Thanks
we
for
will
having
certainly
us.
be playing the song on the breakfast show here on the Max. We'll get the video up on our My Player site as well. And I wish you all the best with the Clutha Song and all the best with the music.
Fantastic, Alex. Thank you very much.
Cheers.
Cheers.